Hey guys, you're watching Chaotic TV. We're bringing you the finals from IEM Katowice right about now. In the top left of Antigua Shipyard, in Game 1 we have the Red Terran playing for Team MVP. He is Dream. His opponent in the 5 o'clock position, the Blue Protoss playing for Team LGIM. He is First. Alright guys, it's been not even a month since the tournament was actually played, and it's been 3 weeks for me of casting, well, minus a week because when I was completely sick, 6 days-ish. But we're finally bringing you the finals, and we even got a bonus for you coming up after this. The FFA with some of the casters and some of the other players from IEM Katowice. They do it on the last day before the finals are ever cast, and it's just to give the other players and the fans a little bit of something extra kind of crazy, something they don't normally see in place of a show match or something like that. All the major tournaments do it. But we have a free-for-all on Toxic Sloans coming at you after these 4 games. And this is Game 1. It's a TVP, and these 2 players have shown that they are a little bit conservative players, so we're going to have to wait and see exactly what they're going to be doing. But I expect very exciting games. I mean, it is the finals, and these 2 come from very, very good teams, LGIM and MVP, host to great names like MVP from LGIM, Nesty, Seed. This player First, MVP, has Dong Regu. They have Vampire, Sniper, and of course Dream, who's playing right now. But actually, these 2 players have a Twitter, and I will try to get those to you, at least in the info, if not in the spoken word of next game. But they do know where each other is, at least. I'm pretty sure there was force cross bonds on Antigua Shipyard for this tournament. Let me turn on those nameplates for you. Relatively sure that LGIM First's Twitter is LGIM_First, and Dream doesn't actually have a Twitter account, so we are unable to plug him right here. But you can always follow me, Chaotic TV. I have been working diligently every other day, casting in the in-between days. I've been working on Dreamweaver and trying to learn it so that I can at least get a under construction site up. And GoDaddy has been giving me quite the problems. And I know, you know, real computer-savvy people host their own stuff on a computer, but I don't even have $300 to buy a little iMac or whatever those little tiny iServers are. Not that I'm an Apple fan. It's just, I mean, you can't find anything cheaper than $1,000 for if you want Windows on it. Plus the Windows itself, even a Windows Server Edition. But anyway, we're going to jump back into the game. We have the fast expansion coming out of MVP Dream after only 1 Rax, but he's building on the 2 that you always see for safety's sake out of the Biocentric Terran. They are a little bit delayed when it goes into Medivacs, but it's definitely a safer route for defending a 4-gate or something like that. Especially against a Protoss, you're going to add on the 2 gases right after you drop those barracks like we see right here, and he's going to start that Marine Marauder production and then move up into factory and reactor medevacs off of a reactor from that factory that he builds whilst the starport is building. But we do have a Nexus out for First as well, so we really are going to have to wait to see what kind of tech path these 2 players choose, if there's going to be any kind of scouting or early push to see if they're going to pressure their opponent into building more and more units. Dream is is continuing his SCV scouting. I actually really like that. He scouted over here just to see if there was going to be any forward pylons that he should have been afraid of. So you can see his tech path, his scouting path comes all the way around here. But the SCV did die, and we do have some early pressure coming out of First coming across the map right now. But we also have some forward pressure coming from a Dream, so he's going to be able to surround this if he's lucky enough and just cut off all the reinforcements and crush this from the side. This pylon, on the other hand, has not been scouted yet. Will it be scouted by this Marine? If he kills the probe before it gets to the pylon, he's not going to be able to see the... he does see the pylon, but will he actually get forward and use it? Now, 6 Marines against a Stalker, it's usually good odds if the Stalker's not micro. But since Stalkers outrange and outspeed micros, outspeed Marines, there is a bit of a trouble when it comes to that. Now, this forward pylon has already been used to warp in these 3 sentries and 2 zealots. The zealots are going to be mostly for tanking. We do see already a second buck coming down for Dream, and he's going to be able to probably put down another one if he's that safety conscious. If he sees that these guys are out here, if he uses this Marine and they get into his vision, he's going to be able to drop another. He's going to be able to hold this, I think. He's got plenty of units here to be able to hold this, unless there are superb force fields coming down. Now he has spotted this push coming in. He's got a supply depot. He's already pulled a couple of SCVs, and he's going to be able to at least scare off LGIM's player. He's going to come back in and try to force field off all of these bunkers so that the SCVs can't do their work and get easily picked off against the force fields by the zealots that are up here in front of the map. Now the Stalker is more for picking off SCVs if he can and trying to get that supply depot. Now it looks like MVP Dream, after losing a couple units right there, he lowered his supply depot to try to see if he could, you know, tease those zealots into coming into around the force fields, and then he could have picked them off and put First back even more. But First, a little bit happy with the losses that he incurred here, only 75 more than himself, and this SCV sees that there is no longer a push coming at him. He does have the Stalker here to scare off and kill any scouting SCVs that come out. Now, we've got a couple Marines that are probably going to try to do what they can, but we already see that starport that we were talking about. He had the 2 medevacs in there, forgot that he had not already switched them over to the reactor that's right now, and now he starts them up again. He's going to put down another medevac right as he got the gas, which he did, and we already see the 2 coming out with their gases being taken for MVP Dream, and gases 3 and 4 are down first, so he's probably going to switch into a robo tech. We see his robo already out. He's going to send off that that observer to make sure that there's no push coming across the map, but there kind of is right now. He's already been spotted by the Stalker. The Stalker was pushed out by the Marine and First pulled it back before the Stalker could die. Now this forward pylon is a big get for Dream because there's not going to be any kind of flanking warp in behind him, and he's not going to be able to really. Ooh, that's a big kill on that Stalker. The Stalker does know that something's coming in, and now we see continued warp ins of zealots coming in because they are the anti-bio play a lot of the time, especially when they have those charge legs. But we don't see that there is charge on anything because there are no Twilight Councils out right now, and this Immortal will be doing great against the Marauder. Now, Dream has always been so great in this series, picking off all of the observers that his Protoss enemies have been sending across to him, but we see another forward pylon probably going to be put down here, and the observers all the way up here. So First is going to have to deal with this MVP Dream army all on his own. You see some great force fields coming down, but there's so many units out in front, he's probably not going to be able to hold this off with any kind of ease. He's going to lose enough on his own side. Now the Zealots are impacted by those force fields being perfectly used by Dream to hide, and even lifts off a couple of these units to try to save it from the Zealots that were incoming. Marauders and those concussive shells are definitely slowing down the Zealot tanks, which is their function in this army, and we have a Colossus moving a bit too far forward. If those Marauders had stemmed back and come after it, he might have been able to pick it off right away. It hasn't taken any damage as of yet, but we see some great splitting from Dream. He's got the higher supply lead right now, and if he decides to keep pushing up with this and killing off a number of those Zealots, he might just turn around and do his own thing. But since he's on the higher ground and he's lost a medevac, he probably will just scare off First and retreat to his normal placement. And this probe over here got lucky, putting down a pylon and then skating all the way into the potential third base of Dream to put down another forward pylon. The factory is probably going to get killed before it gets to scout anything else, but the Colossus tech has already been scouted, so there's pretty much nothing else Dream can do except stack on a couple of Vikings, which we see him doing right now. He has not added a second starport, or has he? He has added on a second starport. That is a move of a pro. We have the low ground forces killing off a pylon down here, and it looks like another Stalker can only be shot at by one Marauder at a time, hiding behind the little nook right here. Always taking advantage of those map awareness. Dream, with a higher supply right now, he's got a pretty darn decent army, especially with these Vikings. But we do have charge legs coming in for the Protoss player from LGIM, and Storm is not down yet, but he does have the capability for feedback and even Archons, which we see him building a couple of right now. So it's really going to be up to First to hold off this attack coming in, but see him going for this many Vikings Dream is really south on the count for medevacs, and since he's got so few medevacs, he's not going to be able to stim more than this once or twice before he runs out of energy completely. One of his medevacs is already out of energy. That's why it's so far forward in the army. The Vikings are getting chopped up by those Archons in their cluster fire, and you can just see the supply of Dream melting away right now to the play from LGIM's first. He lost his Colossus, but the Archons were doing quite well until they started running away. There are no more Zealots until they got whooped in right here on the left, and he's going to be able to push back this force of Dream. I think before Dream comes in with any super reinforcements, the landed Vikings are doing what they can, but again, there are no medevacs in this, and First is taking a higher and higher supply count right now, and he's closing the gap between him and the Terran player. It's only 7 right now when it was 30 just a couple of seconds ago. That is the benefit of those medevacs picking off the Vikings as they land. Before they do any kind of damage, there are 4 Marauders here, but there are 6 Stalkers left, or 5 left, excuse me, and a continued warp-in of these Zealots with their charge is going to be able to push back the Terran player, and I think we might have a rout coming back. He did switch up into this medevac production to try and save the troops he has out on the field, but there's nothing new coming in right now. Continued warp-ins from these forward pylons are going to be a big problem to Dream. This one right here got killed by Dream. It got scouted when he built his 3rd base, but First hasn't gone for the 3rd base himself, and he saved a bunch of money just by not doing that. Target fire on the Archon does wipe it out, but not before the Zealots get charged in there, and he's going to be able to move up right into the 2nd base. He's not even going for the 3rd. The supplies are about even. The army supplies are about even, but being pushed back into this choke is actually more beneficial to First with that splash damage from the Archon. It is a great micro move by Dream, but those medevacs were hiding that the Zealots were attacking right into the bio units. They weren't lifted and put on the high ground, which would have been great, but the Protoss player just continues to rout the Terran player, taking a heavy supply lead right now. Now that he's in the main base, if he goes after these Harvesters, even though they're getting pulled, the Zealots are going to just start chomping them up, and I think this might be the end of MVP Dream in Game 1. He just continues to push through and killing off the medevacs, which are only healing 1 SCV at a time, and there's the GG from MVP Dream. A well-played game on his part. The push was pushed back since he went for that 3rd base, now being torn apart by these Zealots. You can see that a 3rd base is a big investment, not only in the structure, but in the continued SCV production that he decided to go for instead of continuing his army and unit production with the extra buildings you really need as a Terran to fight back against the warping capability of a Protoss. But that was Game 1, guys. I'm really stoked. I'm super wired right now on caffeine. We're going to jump right into Game 2. Hope you're enjoying it so far, because I sure am. Cheers.